Hello Uptown and welcome. I'm Richard Cole, Imagination Funk soloist and host of Amari Purple Talk. This is part 2 of my review of the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition. For those of you who are considering purchasing this collection, the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition is available in the following formats: an 8 CD plus 1 DVD, a 13 LP plus 1 DVD. Both of those have an audio-only download and is available on your streaming platforms. There is also a 3 CD or 4 LP 180 gram vinyl that comes with the download code as well as the remastered original album, which is a 2 CD or 2 LP 180 gram peach vinyl. I believe it's also available in black vinyl that also comes with a download code. So I myself have the 8 CD 1 DVD set, and today I am going to focus on the 3 CDs of unreleased songs included in this Super Deluxe Edition. Please also check out my review of the original album remaster of the Sign of the Times album on this YouTube channel. There will be videos covering the Live at Utrecht and Live at Paisley Park New Year's Eve DVD at a later date. So please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to receive updates on those videos, as well as future episodes of Amari Purple Talk and other Amari Communications projects. All right, so just recapping, of course, Sign of the Times is my favorite Prince album, and it's also in my top 5 of favorite albums in general. And of course, most Prince fans regard this as either their favorite or among their favorites. And for me, I've been waiting for this set for a very, very long time. So it's been out for over a week now. I'm still digesting it. Given the magnitude of CDs that are available in this set, I'm going to be living with this for quite a while. So for this review, I'm going to discuss the things that I like about the collection of Vault Tracks, as well as what I like the least about the collection. I'm also going to give my reaction to 7 songs that I've had on bootleg that I'm happy that made it to the Super Deluxe, and 7 songs that I had never heard that I really enjoyed hearing them since listening for the first time. So right now we're going to start with basically everything that I like about this collection of Vault Tracks. So the good thing is that there is definitely something for everybody. Most of the tracks fans are already familiar with, and it's great that there are also some surprises even for the most diehard of fans. So that's pretty much been the pattern. I think even starting with the Purple Rain Deluxe Edition. With that one, not a lot of overwhelming surprises, but I believe that a studio version of Electric Intercourse, that was a big surprise to everyone. The 1999 Super Deluxe had a few items that, like I said, again, even the most diehard of fans didn't realize existed. And it's nice to have these surface. And I'm also glad that the estate, when it comes to those type of surprises, when they kind of cherry pick these things for the Super Deluxe editions, that these are able to make it officially first before, you know, the bootleggers get their hands on them. And this is an approach that I enjoy. I'm just getting into, well, not just getting into, I've been into Frank Zappa's music for a while. But one of the things that I've always championed about his career was his whole Beat the Boots campaign. And it seems like the Prince estate, in its own way, even though it's in its infancy, is kind of taking a page out of that and sort of getting these items that have been circulating for the longest. And now we have official versions of things at a reasonable price, good sound quality. And I can't wait to see what they come up with next. So I'm also glad too that at least with this particular collection, the packaging is on the level of kind of the recent Beatles material that's been coming out, the deluxe editions of Sgt. Pepper, White Album, Abbey Road. So it's nice to see that the estate is also being competitive in the way that these things are packaged. Nice, hardcover books, lots of detailed information on the sessions, as well as this, stories behind the making of the album. So I'm glad that that's something, and I hope to see this particular quality continue, and especially when the classic stuff goes over to Sony starting next year. So glad to see that, they are looking out for the fans and giving them something for their money, not only for the sound, but the packaging as well. I like that most of the songs, they're complete songs, which is different from other artist box sets where, you might get, say, an alternate take of a certain song, or you get demos, whether it's just an acoustic guitar demo, piano demo. With Prince, virtually every song in the vault is finished, and I'm going to put that in quotation marks. It's finished to a certain degree, but even Prince is sort of, whether it's a guide vocal here, whether, it's great, it just needs just one or two extra overdubs, they're still virtually complete, and you can almost just, if he wanted to in his lifetime, just release a particular track and we wouldn't know the difference. Like, we wouldn't know, oh, this was like a little work tape, or this was a demo tape, which is rare for Prince world, but still, it's like, oh, this was a song meant for this other artist. But man, he could keep this to himself and it would still be great. If not a great single, a great album track too. So unlike, again, other artists, when they have box sets or deluxe editions, like with the Beatles, they left very little in the vault. A song here and there, but everything else is either demos or their alternate takes, and maybe not even finished takes or full takes. They break down in the middle. But with Prince, you don't get that. And especially with this particular set, and you have three CDs of unreleased material. There's very little repetition in this set, and what repetition you do get, it's night and day. It's a departure. And I'm not talking about, again, where if it's a demo of something and it was in a slower tempo, and then you have the near finish alternate take, which was closer to the release take. No, this is a finished song, and there's literally two versions. And we get that overlap in some cases with some of the previous deluxe editions. Same song to a degree, but radically different with the arrangement, radical difference in the instrumentation, and depending, there's a case where there's a track that's done with the Revolution, and there's a track with that classic produced, written, arranged, and performed by Prince by himself. And both are great. You know, you may prefer one version of a song over another one, but they're still both great. It's like you're not mad that the other version exists, pretty much. So, and then there are other songs that are, I guess I don't want to use the word experimental, but there is that where Prince was always pushing boundaries. He didn't want to be limited as an R&B artist. He wanted to be known for taking risks with just about whatever genre moves him at the moment. So you have a lot of variety, whether it's him just trying something different just for the sake of being different, or songs that, whether they were initially intended for the other artists, or once he decided to work with another artist, decided, hey, that song would fit them. So you have that variety, which again, unlike a lot of other artists, you may have artists that do different things per album, or they do the same thing for 3 or 4 albums, then decide to do something different. And then another 5 albums decide to do something different. But with Prince, it was always something different just within the same week, almost within the same day. But again, that execution of the material, it's still better than a lot of other artists, say, finished and released songs. And the other thing that I like too is that the way that they put the sequence of Vault Tracks together, it kind of gives a glimpse, and I'm just going to say a glimpse, of Prince's journey to complete this album. Now, if you want a sort of a wider view of how this album actually came to be, check out the story. It's the Sign of the Times, or Story of the Sign of the Times podcast. And that is put out by it's endorsed by the Prince Estate. It's on your favorite podcast platform. So by all means, check it out. They're on part 5, I think, part 6. I think they have a few more parts to go. But by all means, check it out. And I mean, the story so far, just the first 5 parts are amazing. So by all means, check that out if you want to take a deeper dive into this album, especially if you're new to Prince or you're just now finding your way to this album. So definitely check that podcast out. All right, so now I'm going to cover just a couple of things, and they're very minor issues that I have with this. Believe me, I am over the moon for this. I have been wanting this box set for decades. So my criticisms are very minor. It doesn't take away from anything, or if you're listening to this, don't let it dissuade you from getting this album. By all means, pick up this album. It's my favorite album. So here we go. So basically, yeah, though a lot of the early songs on these Vault Tracks, they are relevant to the making of the Sign of the Times album. A lot of them didn't make the final cut. Just briefly, when Prince still had the Revolution, they were going to make a follow-up album to Parade titled Dream Factory. And that album was finished. It was just never released. And it went through many configurations. So I think there's like 3 configurations of it. And basically the final configuration maybe had a few songs, maybe 3 or 4 songs that did end up on Sign of the Times. But for the most part, the Dream Factory as a complete album was never released. So long story short, he disbands the Revolution, goes back to being sort of the one-man band, and is just on this roll creatively. And again, like I said, those songs with the Revolution, they are relevant to the story. You really can't have a box set without them. However, there are, I don't know, maybe a half a dozen or maybe a dozen, maybe more, but we'll say for this, the things that have already been released, there are a dozen songs that have been released onto other albums that are still in circulation, except for maybe one in some way, shape, or form. They, except for the Black Album, at least if nothing else, you can stream these songs on whatever you listen to, Tidal, Apple Music, Spotify, whatever. You still have access to those songs. But they are songs that did not make it into this cut of Vault Tracks or Deep Tracks, and that is the full-length version of Crystal Ball, which is on the Crystal Ball compilation from 1998. There is Joy and Repetition, which is on Graffiti Bridge. There's Fill You Up, both the 7-inch single version as well as the long version. There's also Good Love, which one version is on the Bright Lights Big City soundtrack. And there is a different version, which is on the 1998 Crystal Ball compilation. And those songs, again, you had something like Dream Factory. Then you also had an album called Camille that Prince put together after he disbanded the Revolution. A good 80% of that album actually ended up on the Sign of the Times album. One song, Rebirth of the Flesh, finally made its cut onto this list of Vault Tracks on the set. And then Rock Hard in the Funky Place is on the Black Album. And we probably won't see that unless there's a Love Sexy Deluxe edition that comes out. But basically, those songs are a very key because they are probably amongst the most well-known amongst deep Prince fans, deep dive Prince fans. You know, when the Black Album was just a legend, you know, we were familiar with it. Rebirth of the Flesh, like I said, a lot of songs, The Ball, that's on there as well on this box set. And I think for me, it goes into helping tell the complete story in sound. It's one thing if you're listening to, say, like that Prince podcast, The Story of the Sign of the Times album. Yes, you get that complete picture. And they do play some snippets of those tracks as well on those. So they are a very important part of the story. It's just that they didn't make the cut onto this box set. Now, I do have a theory about that. The official story from Michael Howe, who is the curator for the estate. His job is to catalog all of the vault material, and he's the one that helps decides which one of these tracks belongs on the box set. You did have some popular omissions from the 1999 Super Deluxe edition, and the official story with those was that they felt that the songs were a little too suggestive for today's climate. Okay, and I get that. I do get that. But with the Sign of the Time Super Deluxe, the omissions were explained away because they felt it would be too repetitive, because the songs are on things, like I said, if they're not in circulation as physical media as of yet, they are available to hear onto your streaming platforms. So in a way, I get that too. But my theory, and we'll say big if for right now, this is just speculation. I don't have any inside track, but reading in between the lines of interviews that I've read with Michael Howe that I'm guessing that, and it's kind of tricky too, because in this particular case, you're dealing with the transition of ownership of master recordings from one record label to the next. And for listeners that are unaware, the famous Prince catalog, the classic catalog of albums from his very first album all the way up until, say, I would say probably the Come album, maybe 1994. But all of the classic ones, 1999, Controversy, Dirty Mind, Purple Rain will stay with Warner Brothers. But with the exception of the albums that Prince did as soundtracks, those classic albums, the license to those will transfer to Sony starting in 2021. And you can check out previous episodes of Amari Purple Talk to get the scoop on that, because depending on what album I'm talking about or what topic, that explanation will come up quite a bit. So that's the long story short. So basically, once everything transfers over to Sony in 2021, then I'm going to speculate that there may be something like a Prince The Complete Sessions, kind of similar to, say, Miles Davis's The Complete Bitches Brew Sessions, or I don't know, The Complete In a Silent Way Sessions or something like that. Or, you know, like Bob Dylan, The Complete Rolling Thunder box set, or The Complete Blood on the Tracks set, where you'll have everything pretty much, and they probably won't come with DVDs. You know, those will probably be 2 or 3 extra CDs of vault material in that case. And I believe that the complete story in sound will happen at that juncture. And like I said, it's speculation. I don't have any inside information on it. But I kind of take a page out of the way Eddie Kramer and John McDermott, they oversee the Hendrix material and how they pick out the tracks for collection on that. And I remember when it was the first box set, the Jimi Hendrix Experience box set, and with them talking about it and how they were able to, you know, now they finally had just about everything that Jimmy ever recorded. You know, the estate finally got a hold of it. And while John McDermott and Eddie Kramer sort of the curators for it, and they kind of compiled these projects, you know, in addition to Hendrix official catalog being released or re-released. Then there was a matter of compilations, box sets, live recordings. So as they're going through this different material, they'll run across a certain song and go, box set, you know, and set that track aside. And let's see. I know since 1996, the Hendrix estate has had complete control over everything regarding Jimi Hendrix material. And that box set came out around, I don't even remember. It was after 1999, so maybe around 2000, I guess, maybe 2000, 2001. So yeah, so that's, you know, 4, 5, 6 years before the box set, you know, became a reality. But like I said, as they were going through these tracks, because the very first thing that they put out was First Rays of the New Rising Sun, and that was a compilation of vault material, and that was immediately after the issuing of Hendrix's catalog, you know, remastered, repackaged, and officially released and owned by the estate. So I'm speculating that this will eventually, or is what's happening, say, with Prince's catalog, where Michael Howe is going through everything and it's like, oh, this track, well, this is going to be for this particular project. We're going to hang on to this for a box set. So that's my guess, is that, somewhere down the line, there may be more of a more expanded and a more tighter collection of songs. Because again, in addition to, like I said, it's very Revolution heavy handed. And that's just my personal opinion. But again, it's not taken away from my overall enjoyment of it. Because, well, I'll get to the tracks that I like too, and some of the surprises as well. And a lot of those are Prince and the Revolution era stuff. But to me, without Joy and Repetition, without Fill You Up, without the full-length Crystal Ball, to me, it's just not a complete Sign of the Times box set. To me, this is sort of like 98% complete for me, which is still a good thing. But I just feel like to tell the complete story in sound, you need those extra tracks in there. And I believe that is going to happen. It'll just take 5, 6 years, 7 years, maybe a tad longer before it actually happens. Where are we now? We're almost on 2021. Maybe a 2017 40th anniversary edition. Who knows? We'll see. But like I said, that's kind of one of the downsides. Like I said, it's little tiny things. So, don't put too much hate into the comments, if it's like, how dare you? You got all this. And it's like, no, just hear me out. There's small criticisms. And with that, we're now going to move on to 7 favorite tracks. Like I said, I'm going to be living with this for a long, long time. So these 7 won't change, and the other 7 surprises probably won't change either. But I'm sure as I listen to it, there'll be some things that'll grow on me, and that may or may not end up becoming a favorite as well. So, but anyway, these are starting with my 7 favorites, which predominantly are based on, these were things that I've had on bootleg for a very long time, and now I'm happy to have official, clean, clear, loud versions of these songs. So, starting with All My Dreams. Now, when I first heard this, and this had to have been around 89, 90, when I first heard this, I was given a cassette. A friend of mine gave me a cassette. He had the bootlegs on it, made me a tape of it. And with this one, at first, I wasn't sure how to react to it when I heard it as a bootleg originally. But a few listens down the road, it probably took a few more, like 3, 4 more listens to it, and I really got into it. I really started to enjoy it. So having this as an official release, I love it even more. The drums and the bass, that is just phenomenal. And the drum is just, what I love about it, it just holds this steady pace. And the drums and the bass, it just anchors everything, while the song itself just goes everywhere. And it's like a dream. It's like actually having a dream. The consistency is that you're asleep. And I don't know if I'm going to go a little cosmic here and just go, the drums just could be, whatever heart rate goes when you're sleeping, that's the drums. And then the bass, to me, is sort of like that, when you're in that REM sleep mode, to me, that's what the bass represents. And then everything else, by the way, musically, the song goes into so many different directions. Lyrically, you got this main thing, where you're in the dream and it holds you together. That type of thing, there's a main focus to the dream, but then there's all this weird stuff that comes out of just nowhere. Like, you groove into this song and it's just like, here, Lisa, take the paintbrush while, give me the paintbrush while I paint the side of the train or something, that right there, that's the stuff that happens to you in a dream. Stuff comes out of left field. And to capture that in a song, that's genius, and I think had this been available, if there was a follow-up album to Parade, yeah, it was a good idea to have this make the cut. The next one is Can I Play With You, which I didn't realize there was a longer version of this. I'm listening to it and I'm thinking like the part where I'm used to it ending and then it goes on, then it just reminds me of, when I would get, say, like the 12-inch single to Mountains or the 12-inch single to Kiss. And, you're used to the album going off at a certain point. And then, you get the 12-inch single and it's extended and it just keeps going and it goes somewhere else on top of it. And it's just like, oh, okay. And to me, this works better because, the whole legend behind it was that Prince recorded this, gave it to Miles. Miles overdubbed it. Prince got it back. But when he realized what the rest of the Tutu album was going to be, he felt like this didn't measure up. And yeah, it would have been out of place with that particular album, but man, do I wish they would have been able to have done a full album together to where this would work, because this works. There is definitely Miles there and he does put his impression on it. And to me, having this official version, I can really hear what Miles was doing as opposed to the bootleg. And then having this longer version, then yeah, it's Miles shifting gears, and where Prince goes in this other direction, Miles is there to bring it home too. And yeah, so I just enjoyed this even more than any other bootleg where, like I said, it cuts off at a certain point or it fades out at a certain point. So I'll take this long version any day. And then next, Witness for the Prosecution. And this was one I enjoyed. This was on I think it was called Crucial. Or it was called Crucial with Miles Davis or something. But if I'm not mistaken, this was the last song on that compilation. And I liked it then. It was a nice little rocker, but they, hearing this officially, and I know this was like the first thing that they leaked not long after this box set was announced. And there's also a review that I've done on it, so check that out. But I do enjoy it. The separation between the guitar, the horns, and the background vocals, which wasn't evident on that bootleg. Like I said, it wasn't a really poor sound, but it wasn't the greatest sound either. So to have this officially released and to hear the separation in the tracks, that is, it makes it more of an enjoyable listening experience for me. So Witness for the Prosecution. I even like the other version too. It's a funkier version. Again, I do a review of that one also. So check that one out as well. And next we have In a Large Room with No Light. That was another bootleg that grew on me during early listens when I had it on a bootleg. And I'm happy this made the set. To me, this was always it kind of grew to be one of my favorite unreleased tracks. I don't know, maybe not necessarily top 10, but if not top 10, it's like 11, 12. Definitely. But I love it. It's totally different. Again, it's that Revolution influence where, I think definitely with Parade, even more so than Around the World in a Day, they were just going in these really other, otherworldly directions. It wasn't just pop for pop's sake. It was like, I think they, as far as the revolution, I'm not sure what Prince's mission was, but I think just kind of the way that I interpret things through different interviews, I think they really wanted to be like, I don't know, maybe the Beatles or whatever group that, Pink Floyd or whatever, where, you're just going in these directions and you're on this mission to make your own, forge your own way in the business, make your own name in the business as a band. And definitely the type of tracks that they were doing, this falls definitely into that category. And not to say that this would have made a pop single or a hit single or a radio friendly single, but definitely if Dream Factory actually made it out, this would have been a definite album cut that I would have enjoyed. So, and let's see, next is The Ball. And this was one that I've had as a crappy bootleg forever. And only in recent years I've acquired a slightly better version. And this particular song, this was an obvious no-brainer for this collection because it was a part of the configuration when Sign of the Times was a 3 LP set called Crystal Ball. And it is great to finally hear this one officially because I can hear it. I hear everything that's going on. And I think what was weird was that I think I heard this after I heard I Know from Love Sexy. So it was kind of weird, but there's this Sign of the Times box set. There's a lot of, I would say, I don't want to say copying, pasting, and not in a bad way, but it's weird. It was weird hearing The Ball and it was like, oh, it's a slowed down version or slower version or slightly slower version of I Know. But because of the legendary status of the Crystal Ball album and this being one of the tracks on it and being in the vault, this was something I think we've all wanted to, definitely we're all happy that this made the cut onto the box set. So that's another favorite. Emotional Pump. This was one I had on a bootleg for just like maybe a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and finally got to hear it then. I enjoy it a lot better on this set because again, it wasn't a crappy copy, but again, it wasn't like having an official, properly mastered and mixed version of it. And I'm glad that this made the cut too, because I enjoy this one a lot too. Again, the bass, I don't know, because I play bass a little. There's a good bass line in this, and it's a good song. Yeah, I can get Joni Mitchell turning this down, I guess. I don't know, because I have to really listen to the stuff where Jaco was playing bass for on a couple of albums. And I don't know. I don't really equate Joni Mitchell with funk or being so overtly pop. This was somebody, like I said, her thing. And I mean, it was influential on Prince when it came to things like, Sometimes It Snows in April. It's that the way she utilizes space in her music. So yeah, I can get her kind of turning this down, but as far as it being a Prince song, this is amazing. It's great. Again, I could see this could have made the final cut for Sign of the Times for sure. I don't know what you would have taken off of it, but I could see this if Prince didn't do Love Sexy, for example, then I could see this being on on an album. You know, it could go anywhere. And then finally, we've got Rebirth of the Flesh, which is one of the Holy Grail bootlegs. This song, I mean, it's so funky that it's amazing he didn't find a place for this. You know, this could have gone on the Black Album. I don't know if this could have gone on Love Sexy, but it could have been a B-side. You know, just like, you know, Scarlet Pussy was the B-side to Wish You Heaven. You know, this could have been a B-side to anything on Love Sexy. This still should have opened up something. You know, I don't know. Maybe if Batman was never recorded, this could have gone on an album. But like I said, it's funky, and I've had crappy bootleg versions of it. I've had slightly cleaner versions of it. And it's good to have it, again, officially released. And it's cool. You can now make your mixtapes, your playlists, you know, where you can do the Camille album. You can do Crystal Ball, that configuration. You know, judge for yourself if 3 LPs was too much. But yeah, this was definitely one of my favorites upon first listen, you know, and was pissed that this was not officially released in some way, shape, or form. But now, here we are, 30 some odd years later, and I'm glad it exists. You know, I'm glad it's officially been released. So, you know, thanks to the estate for that one. And then we're going to wrap this whole thing up with 7 surprises from the Vault material. And we're going to start with Soul Psychedelicide. All right. Now, I've heard the version with George Clinton. There's a duet that he does with him. I haven't really spent a lot of time with that version to really make a valid assessment of it. So I can't say if I like it, I love it, or whatever. I have to go back in and listen again. But this version, man, this version. Now, this should have been on the Black Album. To me, and nothing against Two Niggas as a song. I always enjoyed listening to it. I'm going to get to that in a minute, though. But to me, you could have taken that off. And I think for what the Black Album was supposed to, the idea behind it, because originally it was supposed to have been called the Funk Bible. To me, this would have been a better fit on the Black Album. And again, now that I've heard it, it's like, why was this in the vault the whole time? Like I said, this should have been on the Black Album. I don't know if it could have gone anywhere else. You know, it could have been resurrected in some way, shape, or form. It could have been. Now, I know that there's elements of it that actually ended up on Pandemonium, just with the sort of background vocal chants. So maybe in a way, yeah, but to me, this was a pleasant surprise, and I enjoy the hell out of this track. So, speaking of Two Niggas United for West Compton, we are going to talk about the next song that surprised me was Walking in Glory. And this is, to me, an unadulterated gospel jam. It keeps you in a good mood. If you're feeling whatever you're feeling, just play this. You'll feel a lot better. And yeah, the music, note for note, it's basically, I guess, he just took all the vocals out, put out the instrumental part, and said, hey, this is Two Niggas United for West Compton. It's going on the Black Album. Good luck. And when I first heard it, I had to put on Twitter, had to post the GIF of Aunt Esther because just had that little Sanford and Son flash in my head. It was like, Fred, you old fish-eyed fool, how dare you do that with a song of the Lord? You can't tell me anything, Esther. I can do whatever I want. I can call this song whatever I want to do. I can take the music from Walking in Glory and call it Two Nigs United for West Compton. And watch it before I give you 5 across your lip. So, yeah. So, I mean, when I first heard that, I had to put that GIF up there but it's not a bad thing. I'm not, I enjoy the hell out of this track. So, like I said, and just in its original configuration, it is a great song. I enjoy it. Like I said, it will put you in a good mood. So this will be a favorite for many years to come. And now we're going to move on to Big Tall Wall version 2. I have not heard this one before. I've heard the first version, and that's a good track. Again, when I heard it on bootleg, I was like, okay, it's okay. But I enjoy it a lot better on the box set. But version 2, I like a lot better. I think I just kind of gravitate towards the funkier material if you haven't figured out. But like I said, there's nothing wrong with the first version at all. And like I said, I do enjoy listening to it better. And again, I think it's just because there's separation in the tracks. It's a cleaner sound. It's properly mixed and properly mastered. And you can hear it's better when you can just hear the intent with Prince's songs. Whether these songs are your favorite or not, you hear the intent clearly. And I think a lot of us that have lived with bootlegs for decades, a good song is a good song and it's going to come through regardless. But there are some things, like I said, when I've heard certain bootlegs over the years, and just because of the crappy quality, if a great song doesn't just come through regardless of how you're hearing it, then it's going to take the intent of that artist. And when you have the official version of any artist's song, then you get to really judge for yourself, like, oh, well, I didn't notice. Well, it's that bass line that makes it. Or it's what the keyboards are doing. Oh, there's those subtleties in the background vocals. Now I get the song. Just those little things that make it. So that was the thing with the original version of Big Tall Wall for me. But definitely, pound for pound, I do like the funkiness of version 2 a lot better. And then Strange Relationship was the next surprise. The original, it's got Wendy and Lisa, and they're in like George Harrison mode with the sitar and the Eastern influence in it. And I like it. Now, I've always liked Strange Relationship as a song. This version was a pleasant surprise to hear because I've heard so much about it. And this was one that I've never had in any kind of a bootleg form. So this was probably one of the biggest surprises for me to hear. And the surprise being that I really enjoyed this version of it. Now, there's also a Shep Pettibone remix of this as well. And that's pretty good. And I like all 3 versions. I like the official version. I like the original version with Lisa and Wendy. And I like the Shep Pettibone remix. In fact, I wonder if this was something that somehow found its way to George Michael. Because there's a lot of stuff going on with the keyboards in there that, like in kind of post Listen Without Prejudice, when George Michael kind of does that, his kind of brand of sort of pop funk, the chord structures are very similar. So I wonder if he, because Shep Pettibone did do a remix of Hard Day. And, that's right. So I'm wondering if, George is like, hey, I want you to remix Hard Day for me. And it's like, hey, what's this you're working on? And Shep Pettibone's going, oh, well, this is Prince, but don't tell nobody, but yeah, I'm doing a remix for him. And George Michael's probably going, I like those keyboards there. And then, 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, it's, Too Sexy comes out. And it's like, Yeah, it's a strange relationship. It was one of the biggest surprises as far as the original version. Like I said, the Shep Pettibone remix was good too. So when you get your hands on this set, by all means, definitely pick that, check that song out. And next we're going to come to Crucial, which was a surprise because there's a version with alternate lyrics. Now, the version that had been circulating amongst bootlegs, and probably the most favorite version, has Eric Leeds on the sax, while the version that ended up on the 1998 Crystal Ball compilation has Prince on guitar instead of having, the Eric Leeds sax. And that was one that I thought for sure would have made this cut, but instead there was this cut where the lyrics in the first verse are radically different than both the Eric Leeds sax version and the version released on Crystal Ball with that, which again leads me to speculate that we're either going to get that either in a like an official Prince box set that covers his whole career, or we're going to probably get that somewhere down the road with a Sign of the Times, the complete sessions box set. So I hope so, because that's definitely one that if you're a fan or if you're new to this, that is one of, again, a holy grail sort of bootleg that needs to see the light of day, that needs to beat the boots, or what I used to call on Amari Purple Talk, bite the boots. And the final surprise is that the song Cosmic Day is growing on me. Now, I did a review of that track, and like I said, I wasn't too overwhelmed by it because of the fact that it felt more like a Prince and the Revolution era song than a song that belonged on Sign of the Times. And I know this is a favorite amongst a lot of other fans. But the thing that I did like about it, the beginning of it, you do hear that sort of same drum pattern intro when Prince was, when the Sign of the Times tour. If you see the movie or if you watch the live DVD that comes with this set too, you'll hear that intro is very similar, where on stage it's the intro leading into I Could Never Take the Place of Your Man. And the other thing that I liked about Cosmic Day, kind of as it's, I guess it kind of goes into the second half of the song where it sort of changes gears. I like musically what's going on there. But everything else, I wasn't really too enthused about it. But the more I listen to it, the more I start to enjoy it a little bit more. So, not sure if this will become like a favorite like everybody else, but who knows after a few more listens. But I do enjoy it more, and I guess I kind of get more what people do enjoy about the song. And I mean, it's a good set of lyrics, and it's a good positive set of lyrics too. So, surprised. All right, so in a nutshell, like I said, that's the Vaut Tracks. And like I said, there's a lot that I enjoy. And like I said, even my criticisms are very minor. They're very small criticisms. So for me, I would give the Vaut Tracks, the 3 CDs, I'd still give it a 9 out of 10. And that's just because of the absolute variety in the tracks. Yeah, it is a little Prince and the Revolutionary heavy-handed, and it does kind of need the tracks that are missing, like Joy and Repetition, the full-length Crystal Ball, Fill You Up, to kind of tell sonically the complete story of it. But what you do get in this set, again, there's something for everybody, and you will not be disappointed. I didn't give a rating for the original album remaster. For that one, I am going to give that one also a 9 out of 10. I enjoyed the remaster of the original album. There were a lot of things, and like I said, check out that review. But like I said, I'm going to give that one a 9 out of a 10 as well. And just basically, there's one or two songs where it's like, it may have been no different than the previous incarnation on CD, just maybe slightly louder. But the things that where the majority of the songs, I do hear the separation in the tracks. And, there is a range, and there are nuances that, I never heard in, even on vinyl, which was the superior version of listening, or even the original cassette as well. So 9 out of 10 for that original album remaster as well. But if you have the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe Edition, what did you think of the Vault tracks? Or has this review inspired you to check it out? If you're new to being a Prince fan, or if you just had a couple of albums and just wondered what the fuss about Sign of the Times was all about, if this inspired you to check that out, leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. And that is going to end this review. Again, hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell, and that way you'll be notified with the next installment of the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe review, which will cover the live CD, and then after that there will be a review of the live DVD. So definitely check that out, and also be sure to check out Amari Purple Talk every Monday on your favorite podcast platform, or just come right back here to YouTube. And until then, everyone be safe, stay healthy. Let's try to have love for one another, and also keep it purple and on the one.